Hello, welcome to Endeavor Solutions Training Tuesdays. Today we're talking about Dynamics GP and specifically some tips and tricks for navigation. On the line with me is Irasima. She's been with the company for a number of years and has trained a number of our clients on introduction to Dynamics GP. She has a wealth of knowledge and very excited to have her online today to share some of her tips and tricks. Irasima, I'll let you involve, and I'll move on to the next slide.
I'm going to get started right now, showing you this graphic that is showing on the screen right now. That is the Microsoft Dynamics GP module integration. On this graphic, I just wanted to illustrate for you how the Microsoft is actually organized. As you can see, the menu has different series, and GP is organized by series, and in each one of the series you have different modules. We must be so used to all of this menu, but I wanted to clarify for you and illustrate for you right now how do they interact to each other. So, and I'm just going to put an example used in the purchasing series. On the purchasing series, for people that they have purchase orders, they can have the purchase order processing module and also the payables module. As you could see how the arrows are displayed on this graphic, you can see how they interact to other different modules also. They interact with the inventory, they interact with bank, but also at the end of the day, what is so nice to illustrate with this graphic is that all the information in GP flows from the different modules to the general ledger module. And if you see the direction of the arrows, and if you wanted to have GP records clean and reconcile all the transactions that we should be doing in GP that they are related to sub-ledgers, they should be entered in the corresponding modules, and the information will flow nice and clean to the general ledger. Now I'm just going to exit from this graphic that I have in here. Okay, perfect. So, give me a second. Okay, now in GP, what I would like to illustrate for you is that in GP, exactly the graphic that I showed to you is represented in GP in the same manner. So if you can see here on the left-hand side, you have the navigation pane. On the navigation pane also is what the information is organized by the different series. And then if I click here on the purchasing series, you notice that I have in here under the transactions menu, I have in here the different modules. Everything that is here above the transaction entry is purchase order module, and everything that is below is actually accounts payables module. As you could see in GP, if I switch to any other one, I will have exactly the same criteria. So what I wanted to illustrate for you in this case is something that maybe is also, I don't know if it's new for you or not. If you compare the display from the to the purchasing series, you know that they are organized a little bit different. So what I wanted to illustrate is there is a tip that I'm going to give you, hopefully it's the first one, if you have not been using it this way. If you wanted to have all your columns organized on the right, you can just, I'm going to go back to the cells, you can just click in any of the multi-column mode, and actually everything gets organized in here. This area page, every time that I'm on an area on the navigation pane, it will open the area page. This area page is also, you can customize, or either the way that my preference a little bit, to have it on the right, but also if you are a person that likes to work like this with the whole area page display, you move the menus, you can actually put it on the top or you can put it on the back, so you can just grab in them and you can just move them around. In my case that I like it like this, I'm just going to tell you where it's actually coming from in my purchasing series. Okay, it's going to come back here. I'm just going to illustrate for you how do I get organized this on the right. This actually is coming from your home page. And guess what? Your home page is the window that every time that you open your GP, as you may well know right now, always GP opens in the home page. And also your home page, when you see the area page for the home page, it can be customized. How do you customize the home page? And this is another thing that I don't know if you are aware or not. Here, if you click on the right-hand corner on customize this page, you have different options. I wanted to mention something for people that they have just been done an upgrade recently, that most of you, and I don't know if you have changed it or not, your GP, as soon as you do the most recent version of upgrading GP, it will come like this, and it will show something like this. It will show the business central display. If you like to work like this, it is, but this is just only like a kind of advertising from Microsoft. So, and it's always kind of trying to connect to the internet. So my recommendation, and even for a better look and for more productive experience in GP, if you change this to the default one that used to be the previous one before this version, you can actually have it like this. And then it will be different and it won't have the advertising. Another thing talking about advertising that I wanted to show you is also by default, Connect means that it's also trying to go to Microsoft pages all the time. So I will encourage you to actually unclick this and only have the check marks on the things that you want it to be displayed on your homepage. As you notice here, they can be organized in here by, you can have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns for the homepage based on the criteria of the content that you select. But also what I wanted to get back is what I showed you before a few minutes ago, that when I customized my area page and from my purchasing series, you notice that everything was actually stuck on the right. And it's because I have a check mark here on the right. You can put it as your preference wherever you want it. So one of the things that I wanted to mention to you is every customization that we do for our own user ID, and it doesn't matter if we have 1 company that we have access, or 3 companies or 10 companies, every customization that you do, homepage, toolbar, they are going to stay with your user ID in any company that you are. Okay, from here, I'm going to go to show you another tip that I think that is so beneficial to get productivity in GP. That is the customization of the toolbar. As you are very aware, on the toolbar, you have all your menus that you are so used to that you can access window from these menus. So if I go here to transactions and I go here to purchasing, I can definitely go here and open the purchase order entry window. So everybody should be now familiar how to use those menus. If I'm in the area page and I go here to purchasing, purchase order entry, I will actually open the window. But what I wanted to illustrate right now is how can I have a shortcut in my bar that I will have a purchase order entry shortcut in here. In order to do that, above the toolbar, you have here the address bar, and beside the address bar, you have here the layout icon. This layout icon allows you a couple of things. If you don't like to have the navigation pane open all the time, you can unmark it, and if you notice, it will disappear. So my preference I like, because I like to move using the series with the navigation pane through the navigation pane, but also what I wanted to illustrate, how you customize the toolbar. If you notice in here that only I have a check mark in the main toolbar, and that's the one that you see there with the menus, transaction, inquiry, reports, and cards. And also, of course, Microsoft Dynamics menu. But I want to show you how we customize. So for that, the first step that I will do, I will unlock my toolbar because it comes locked. I will come back again now that it's being unlocked, and then I will put, let's say, like a check mark beside purchasing. Hey, guess what? When I do that, I have quite a few by default from the purchasing module. I have from the purchasing series, I have quite a few different icons that they come here. Purchase order entry, receiving, enter match invoice, regular AP invoice. So you can have the menus that they will come by default, but we can customize them. If you have not been doing it, let me show it to you and let me illustrate to you how you can customize this. You right-click in any one, it doesn't have to be a specific one. You click on Customize. When you click on Customize, just remember, which is the toolbar that we were modifying? The purchasing toolbar in this case. It has the purchasing series. So from this one, I highlight the record that I wanted to select, and I will click in selection. And you see here that I have a different menu with different options. From this one, I will actually take in here the text only, or I can choose the image and text. I'm just going to choose in here, in this case, image and text. I will double check that I actually have a check mark. I will click OK. And now I have in here a shortcut for my purchase order entry that if I click in here, I think that it will save time from either come to the area page or from either come to the menu. So another one that I really encourage you, if you don't have it yet, because most of you maybe have it already, is to have on the toolbar to actually have the standard toolbar. Why I like to have this one? Because actually it's a quick shortcut to a smart list. And all of you must know right now, a smart list is an amazing tool that we can use to get information from GP very easily and quick. So from here, I noticing here that actually this is the standard toolbar that I didn't have it. So I'm just going to grab it and move it. I can put this wherever I want it because I unlock my toolbar. I will do the same process just for illustration purposes. Here, click on Customize. I will actually come here. The standard one is the one that I want to customize. Smart List, Modify Selection, and I will, in this case, put text only. Click OK. And now I have a shortcut in my toolbar for the Smart List. You can have in here is unlimited. This can be increasing, and you can have rows of shortcuts. And you can add anything to your toolbar using the menus on the Customize icon. So another nice tool that I wanted to illustrate for you that also is very beneficial to use is the help. If I open the purchase order entry in here, you notice that I have a help icon. So most of the windows in GP, you will get a help icon. The help icon is an amazing feature to use in GP to get information about the window. If you are curious to try to do something or test something on your own new that you don't know what the window is all about, if you come here on the help, you can actually go help and then you can go about this window and it will tell you a lot of, it's kind of a training manual that you just get very quickly from GP, any window that you are that has a help icon in there. So that's a recommendation that I have for you that is very useful to use. And if you want to learn sometimes GP on your own, it's an amazing tool. If you want to go a little bit farther and you wanted to have printable manuals that they are not only for a specific windows that you wanted to have, let's say for a specific module, let's say like a accounts payables module, you can definitely get that from this help icon that is here beside the layout icon. You have a help. Here, if you notice in here, if I open that menu, you can see here that you have printable manuals. They are available for you. You can get it in PDF. You can print all of them if you wanted or just looking at the screen. So they are very nice, and those are documentation that maybe is worthy if you have new employees that you can actually print the manuals from GP. So those are one of the things that I wanted to show you from the toolbar, but I'm not going to leave the toolbar without showing one of the features that I also use a lot, that is the Microsoft Dynamics GP menu. With this one also, I'm going to give you kind of a few tips or tricks that you can actually use from this menu. And in order to do that, I'm going to start with user preferences. So in user preferences, we can change our user preference based on what we have in this window. So if we are a company that we always do invoices, sales invoices, but we never do quotes or orders, we can actually have a default icon in here that it will be that when you open the sales transaction entry window, it will open on invoice. comes very handy. Also, what I wanted to illustrate for you, I'm not going to go to all the details, but hopefully nice tips for you, is this one, the display. On the display, you notice in here that I have my requires fields in red. By default, they come in black. So they come like this. The reason that I like my preference to have it in red is because when you are working in GP, and most of you must know that you have sometimes that when you are doing entries, you get prompt messages saying not all the required fields have been entered. To have them highlighted in red, I will consider that maybe it's a nice recommendation because they will actually really stand out on your eyes. Okay, which is the field that I'm missing that I cannot keep moving on in GP. Also, GP with a very nice feature through most of the windows in GP, that is the link fields or the zoom pointers. Those link fields, they can actually take you from one window to another in GP, and I'm going to illustrate that for you in a moment. And also, you have zoom that you can go to some windows in GP, and you can open other windows using the link field or the zoom pointer mode. This link field, what I'm here right now, is just to illustrate for you that you can color. You can put it blue, you can put it any preference. You have a lot of preference in here. I'm just going to put in purpose, I'm going to put in here like a dark blue. And I'm going to apply. So with this one, I have the link fields in dark blue and in the other ones in red. So those are things that you can have in the user preferences. And of course, in the user preference, if you are a user, you can actually change your password to have your own unique password for your own GP. Okay. Another thing that I'm going to save all my changes. Another nice feature that you have here under the Microsoft Dynamics menu is actually this one that is in here, that is the process monitor. On the process monitor, you will get to see everything that is running in GP that maybe is preventing you to do something that you. Good example that I'm going to put for you is when we are printing reports. When we print reports in GP, and don't tell me if you have not gone through this, because I think that most of us, we have been experienced that when we print reports, that we don't see nothing happen, and we click printing. So that means that, of course, most likely you have a screen output open, here on the taskbar beside the icon, or even maybe you actually have a smart list running that it will prevent you to do another report or to generate another report and see it on the screen. So come back sometimes if you see that nothing happened in GP, that you are waiting for something to happen, come here to your process monitor and see everything that is running and be a little bit of patient. Another nice feature that I wanted to show you is in this Microsoft Dynamics menu. You have in here close all windows. You notice that because I exit the windows that I was before and I didn't close them, I don't see them in my area page, but guess what? They are actually open. So you can see here on the taskbar. So you could definitely come here, open them and close them manually. But sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, that you haven't gone through this, you can have so many of them open at the same time. That is so nice to use this feature in here that is close all windows, and it will automatically close everything that it was open in GP. And even it's smart enough that if by any chance you are working on a transaction that you need to save, it will actually prevent you and say, do you want to save your transaction? So using this feature, I will recommend that you can, if you want, you can actually have it like a shortcut for close all windows in the toolbar. And by the way, any menu other than the user preferences, that you can actually add it to the toolbar as a shortcut. Okay, those are really the things that I wanted to show it to you, because you also have here in this menu the user and company and the user day. But for that one, if you wanted to switch from this company to another company, if you are an organization that you have access to more than one company in your GP environment, I rather use this another nice trip that is here on the name. without having to exit GP. You can click here on the company name and you can switch from one company to the other if you have access to, it's going to show in here, all the companies that you have access in your environment. So you can easily switch companies on here. And also, if you are logging as a user and you need to change user, you can also come here and change it. So those are shortcuts if you have more than one company in your environment that will allow you to definitely be able to switch companies or to switch the user without closing your GP. Okay. The other nice feature that I wanted to show you, and I don't know how familiar you are or not, but hopefully you will find a little bit of a tip in here also, is on the navigation list. You notice in here that on the navigation pane, we have different, as I mentioned before, the different series. But if I switch from one series to the other, you notice that not only my area page change, but also on the navigation pane on the top menu, the menu will change also. If I'm going to go back to my purchasing series, you notice in here that now I have purchasing in my navigation list. So I'm just going to be generating a list because I'm going to show you also a nice tip to print very quickly a trial balance or an aging trial balance for any of your vendors without having to go to the reports menu, trial balance, and do all of those things. You can actually come here, you display the list, and just for you to know, and I need to advise for this, don't get discouraged when you do this list. It's only kind of the first time that you open that it will take a little bit of a while to open, but be patient, it will actually display. And when you open once, the next time it's going to go a little bit farther. So those lists, if by any chance you have not been using them, they are actually lists that you can customize, you can use, as I mentioned before, to print a trial balance. And I'm going to illustrate that for you right now. You notice in here that if I click on any vendor, okay, I can go on the main action pane, like you see in the top menu, I have an action pane. I can click on reports and I can go here and print a historical trial balance. In this case, that's the one that we recommend you to use most of the time because it's the one that matches to the GL. So here, if I print the historical trial balance, I would like to do it in summary or in details. I'm going to choose details in this case. I can modify my date using my calendar, or I can definitely drop down menu. I can so many different options in here. So I'm just going to leave the date that is in here. I wanted to select the report using the GL posting date, and I will click here on print. When I click on print, this option, I'm just going to put it to the screen. And when I do the screen, my trial balance is being generated, and I have a quick trial balance for a vendor, and like a lot faster than if I actually have to go to the report and make the selection and select the vendor. So it's a very nice feature that you have in here. I hope like you find it beneficial. And also I'm going to show you a couple of more things in this window. You notice in here, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, we have an action pane that we can do actions from based on the navigation list that we have in the middle area. But also you notice in here that we have an information pane that is just below the list. So based on the customer that I actually have, sorry, the vendor in this case that I have highlighted, you notice in here that my information pane gets changed. And it's also a very quick tool that I can use to see the current balance, last check amount, last check date, if you have something on order for this. So coming to this navigation list, I will recommend that you can start playing around if you have not been using it. And I hope like the people that they've been using it, they also find it as beneficial and as I found it. So the other thing that I wanted to say is if by any chance you wanted to, let's say you have vendors that they have payment priorities. We can use payment priority by number on the vendor card setup. I'm just going to illustrate that for you fairly quickly. If I go here and I click on the action pane on the vendor, it will open my master record from here. So I don't have to exit. I don't have to go to any other menu. I can choose, and I'm going to choose in this case, I'm just going to choose this vendor. You notice in here that on the options on the vendor card, I can have payment priority. A lot of people that they have EFTs or checks or payment terms, or we can use this field for so many different options that allows us to make our life easier in GP for check generation, for report generation. So payment priority is a very nice feature that we can use. And also using it on the list, on the navigation list, it will give us also other benefits. Let me illustrate this for you. So in here, and I don't know if you are familiar to how to customize this type of list, but I'm going to show it to you. So if I come here, you notice all of those lists by default, they come vendors read only or customers read only, or any list that you are, it comes read only. How you customize them? Very easy. You click here on the drop down menu. You come here and say, first thing that you need to do is save as, and I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put here like a vendors by payment priority. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to click here. Okay. And this is my list. It's going to take a while to display, but it's going to come. When I have the payment priority, I can add more information to the list that I'm customizing. When I do a customization like this, is because I wanted to use this list for so many different purposes. A good one is for, for EFT or for some actions that I'm going to just show it to you very quickly. So in here, the only thing that I wanted to do is just I can add more columns. So I click here on the drop-down menu again, and I click on Customize. In here, I have so many options that I wish I could have the time to show all to you, but I can't. But I'm going to show you one that is very nice. So in here, if you come to Columns and you open the display arrow, I can see here that I have in here Payment Priority. I will click here OK. When I do OK and I actually save it, is going to come another column that is going to have my payment priority. So with the payment priority, the benefit that I'm going to have is that instead of having display all my vendors, I can do filters only to display the vendors that I wanted to have, that they have payment priority. Let's say you have in here like some of them they don't have it, some of them. So I can add filters, and I can say, okay, add a filter that my payment priority in this case is and then enter the value is actually equal to, let's say, like a 1. So I'm just gonna click here to display, apply filter, only the vendors that I see in here. If I want to print a trial balance for all of them at once, I put a check mark on the little box beside vendor name. It will mark everybody that is only on this customized list, and I can do actions. I can do actions or either print the report that I just illustrated for you before, or even maybe different actions like this. I can actually say email settings for all of my EFT vendors. I can come here and I can just say, okay, all of those are EFT vendors because they belong to payment priority 1, and I can add this all at once. So those are the type of things that you can use, just to give you a little idea of how you can use this list. So another tip that I'm going to give it to you is this one. When we are in the list mode, I don't know if you have been struggling, how I exit this, how I exit this mode. I don't have an X, I don't have a save icon, how I can go back to my area page the way that I want it. Let me give you a trick. If you go back to the series and you just click in here, purchasing, the system, it will actually, if we're asking me if I'm to save, I'm going to save it. It will actually take me back to my definitely area page that I have in here. Okay. Another feature that I wanted to show it to you that I don't know if you've been using it or not, but I found it beneficial, is how we can use with more productivity, the looking glass. So as everybody knows, the looking glass are ways that we can actually find information. And for that one, and for this purpose, I'm just going to go to an inquiry window. and I'm going to go transaction by vendor. I wanted to look everything that is being happening to a specific vendor, and for that reason, because I maybe don't know the name, I'm just going to go to my looking glass. You notice in here that your looking glass, by default, your search criteria comes find by vendor ID. So we can switch this fairly easily. You see here that we have 3 different columns: vendor ID, vendor name, and additional sorts. If I want, I don't know the ID, but I know the name, I can click on the word vendor name, and it will switch my search criteria to vendor name. In here, I can just only, like, I can put in here, like, a start with DEA, and I just click tab, and it will take me to all of the vendors that they start with that criteria. But also, and I don't know if you've been in this or not, but I love this feature also, is this one. You can also have additional sorts in here. So on the additional sorts, by default, GP brings few additional sorts, but we could also add more custom sort. So if I use the default one, if I choose payment priority, guess what? My search criteria changed by payment priority. I put one tab, and it will bring me all the ones that they have payment priority one. But also, if I go here to the looking glass, and I'm going to go back here again because I wanted to show it to you, you have here custom sort. You can on the fly, let's say like you are looking for a specific, I don't know, vendor, let me just put it here like a city. So you wanted to see all the vendors that they belong to certain city. You can come here, insert, click OK, and guess what? Now your criteria is actually showing by city. So those are nice features that you can use in GP to hopefully make your experience a little bit nicer, and you can have so many different options that you can use using this custom sort and additional sort when you are looking for records. And it's applicable to all the windows in GP that they have a looking glass. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to be doing something that I want to illustrate for you. That is the link fields that I mentioned to you before. So from here, if I select a record in GP, I'm going to select any record. I'm just going to choose the first vendor. You notice in here that I have my information from this specific window that I'm in right now, and I have a lot of link fields. How can I use those link fields in GP? First of all, I wanted to say to you that sometimes, and I don't know if you notice, using GP, you have high details. So important that when you're using GP, in some windows that you don't see the whole information being displayed, that you be curious and you actually show the details. So you can actually see the information that is below. If you want to zoom into any record, you select the record, you have to highlight it, and I'm going to zoom because I have my zoom fields or my link fields in like a kind of a dark blue. I will click on document number, and I will actually be able to be on the transaction zoom entry. From here, I can keep opening more windows, and I can keep digging in my information. I can go back again, and I can show, oh, I don't see here the GL account number. I can show more display information. So using the link fields, definitely you are going to be able to zoom into a lot of information. Another thing that I wanted to mention to you, when we are in a zoom mode in GP, we don't have to worry about anything because we are not doing any damage, because we cannot change any information that has been posted in GP. So now that I open so many different windows, if I would have a shortcut in here that I didn't have the time to put it, I will come here, Microsoft Dynamics, and close all windows, and they will actually be closed all together. So those are the kind of the hopefully shortcuts and nice features that I wanted to illustrate for you today. I know that it was a little bit condensed, and when I'm working with GP, I'm a person that I love GP so much. That's why I've been using it for almost 20 years now. I still loving it. I found it like it's an amazing software, and I wish I could have a little bit more time to keep showing more features and tips and tricks that hopefully you found it beneficial. Scott, what to you?
Thank you very much, Hiroshima. That was absolutely fantastic. I'm always amazed at how much depth and layers of knowledge that you have. So just as a recap, Hiroshima covered off a large number of navigation tips and tricks, many of the basic elements, and then also looked into navigation options and finished off with the zoom. It's always nice having those zoom tools where you can explore without changing data. For those that are new to Endeavor, we've now been around for over 30 years supporting Microsoft Dynamics GP. I've also added in Business Central and Dynamics Nav, Dynamics 365 CRM, and all the cloud products from Microsoft, including Azure, Office 365, Power BI, and all the other components that come with that environment. Our 3 lines of business: advisory, implementation, and ongoing upgrades and support. We now have over 550 clients across Canada and the U.S. and parts of Europe and South America. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Trish, James, or and others. Another question, Hiroshima. A gentleman was having issue configuring his web client to match the GP desktop client. He didn't have access to the same report. I actually, while on this webinar, I went into our Teams mobile app on my phone and asked our support desk, and the answer is the web client has a different set of security parameters. So if there's something that you can't do in a web client that you can do in the rich desktop client, then it's a security parameter, and either talk to your system admin or call the Endeavor support desk, and we can help walk you through changing those security parameters to allow you to get the best of both, depending on which client you're choosing to use. Okay, I don't see anything coming in. If you do have anything else, feel free to reply to the webinar invite or reach out to Endeavor Support. JF, I got your note. Thank you, and thank you as well. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.
Have a great day. Thank you.